Take a pause before we learn our fourth method and just try a new example with the three methods that we've learned so far and just practicing those other things we learned so far about our preference table. So I put this example up here. I didn't give it a fun scenario, just the preference table. So we've got four candidates, A, B, C, and D, and we're gonna ask a bunch of questions about it. So the first question is, how many total votes are there in this preference table? So as we remember, the top of each column is the total number of people who had that as their particular preference ballot. So then if we add those up, we would have, say, 15 plus the 12 plus the 10 and the 4 would give us our total number of voters. Now, in both of the examples that we've done, we've had 4 columns. That's not always the case. You can have less, you can have more. It just depends on how many types of preference ballots that you get. So if we add those up, 15 plus 12 plus 10 plus 4, we end up with 41 total votes. So 41 people voted in this election. What we're going to take a look at then is, let's ask a question about majority. So how many first choice votes would be needed for majority? So what we're going to do, remember, we have to remember the definition of majority. Majority means more than half, right? More than half. So we need to take the total and divide it in half. So 41 divided by 2 is really a fraction. It's going to be 20.5. So this is a new type of thing that we could see is this fractional half. But remember, either way, we have to go more than half. So we have to just bump it to whatever is the next whole number. So the next highest number would be, we would need at least, more than 20 and a half would be 21. So at least 21 votes for majority. Now let's ask, did any candidate get majority? And what we would mean by that is majority of first choice votes. So let's add up first choice votes. Well, we see, let's count up, we have A is a candidate. So look at all the places where is A first choice. Well, A is first choice on the first column, which gives them 15. Remember, it's not just how many columns, it's also the number that that column represents. Let's look at B. We look for what columns are they on top of. Well, B is actually not on top anywhere, right? We're first choice on any of the ballots, so they get 0 first choice votes. C is on top in the second column, so they're first choice for 12 voters. And then D is first choice in the third and fourth column, which means for 10 and 4, which is 14 total voters. So a total of 14 voters gave them first choice. So then our question is, did any of these people get majority? Well, majority was at least 21. 15, 0, 12, and 14, none of them are at least 21. So the answer there would be no. So we did not receive anyone with majority. So now what we can do is let's practice our 3 different methods that we've learned so far. So let's first ask, who is the winner with plurality method? So we need to remember what plurality method does. Plurality method looks at first choice votes, and it says who had the most. So when we do add up those first choice votes, well, it's actually what we just did. So let's just copy it over, right? A had 15, B had 0, C had 12, and D had a total of 14. So who has the most? Well, it would be A. So A wins. Because they have the most first choice votes. Pretty quick and simple, but maybe we're not sure if A is actually preferred for everybody. So let's try a different method just to see what would happen. Who is the winner with plurality with runoff? So remember, what's the thing we checked first for plurality with runoff? Remember, the goal of plurality with runoff is to get majority. So check that first. Did anyone get majority? No, no one got majority. So no one had majority. So then we're going to look at eliminating everyone except the top two. So in this case, then we would eliminate B and C. So that was because, well, originally A had 15, B had 0, C had 12, and D had 14. And so when we're looking at those numbers, we eliminate everyone except the top two. So now we do a runoff. Where we're just looking at, well, the people left is A and D. So literally, I'm going to come over here to the table, and I'm going to cross off all the B's and the C's. So we're going to eliminate B, eliminate C, B and C, B and C, and B and C. We're going to eliminate all of those. And then we're going to run this runoff election. So remember, we award the votes in a certain column to whoever's preferred. So in the first column, with A and D as the only ones left, A is preferred. So that was worth 15 votes. I was looking for the word there. In the second column, just between A and D, now notice, neither of them is very high on the ballot. It doesn't matter, it's just which of those two is preferred. So D is preferred, so D gets 12 in that case. And then going on to the third column, between A and D, D is preferred, so they get 10. And in the last column, between A and D, D is preferred, so they get 4. So A had a total of 15, and D had a total of 12 and 10 is 22, and then another 4 is 26. So then that would declare D the winner. So D wins since they had 26. They had more after the runoff. And remember, we only did the runoff because we didn't have a majority. If you have a majority, just declare that person the winner. Done, good to go. Last method is board account. So let's try and practice this one again. So remember, board account, you're counting up the total points. So we're going to count up points for A, B, C, and D. Now remember, I like to put my little point totals over here. Now I'm just going to leave, I had crossed off B and C for the previous method. We can still see where they were, so it has no effect on board account now, but I'm just going to leave it for the sake of not having to redraw the table. So remember, when we award point totals, it's easiest to start at the bottom since that one's worth 0 and then go up from there. So 0, 1, 2, 3 are going to be our point totals. So now let's track A's points. So A is first choice in the first column, so that's worth 3 points for 15 ballots. So we get 3 times 15. In the second column, they are last fourth choice, which is worth 0 points, and that's for 12 votes. So they have plus 0 times 12. In the next column, they're second choice, so 2 points for 10 votes, so plus 2 times 10. And in the last column, they are again fourth choice, which is 0 points for 4 votes, so 0 times 4. And if you do add all that up, you should get 65. For B, let's track them. B is second place here, so 2 points times 15 ballots. They're again second choice in the next column, so again 2 points times 12 ballots. In the third one, they're in third choice, so that's worth 1 point and it's 10 votes, so plus plus 1 times 10. And then in the next one again, they jump to second again, so another 2 points times 4. So then if you add all that up, you should get 72. Let's track C. C is fourth choice on the first one, so that's 0 points. And remember that was worth 15. Notice we kind of have all the first columns here. It's just going to be some number times 15. And then in the next one, we've got C is first choice, so 3 points times 12. Then there's last in the third column, so 0 points times 10. And then they are third choice, so 1 point times 4. If you add that up, you should get 40. And then let's do D. So D is third choice, so 1 point times 15. Third choice again is 1 point times 12. Then their first choice, so 3 points times 10. And in the last one, they're also first choice, which is 3 points times 4. If you add all that up, you should get 69. And then board account looks for who has the most points. So we had 65, 72, 40, and 69. 72 would be the most. So that means that B was the winner with the most points. So again, it's kind of interesting that we did have a variety of winners depending on what method we use. That's not always the case. There's definitely examples where these different methods will give the same winner, but we're kind of trying to see interesting examples. So we're somewhat purposefully picking examples that have different things happen. A couple interesting things with this one to point out. Like with board account in this one, it's very interesting that notice B was the winner, but B had no first choice votes. Nobody put B at the top of their list, which is kind of interesting. B was just sort of high middle on lots of people's lists. So again, you kind of have this feeling of everybody's like okay with B, but no one's excited. Literally no one had their first choice vote picked as the winner, which is an interesting thing. D, there is kind of this, a group of people really like D, and then the other people are kind of meh, like D's okay, but low. A being the winner with plurality. They're very high here on a lot of people's. They're okay here, but then they're way at the bottom of several people. So there's a lot of kind of polarizing views happening in this, and we see that showing up in the different methods. So, like I said, so far these are 3 methods. We are going to practice some other examples with these methods, and then we do still have one more technique that we are going to learn. So we do have a 4th technique that we're going to learn for voting methods.